2 billion people will be able to see the Apophis asteroid pass by us with the naked eye on Friday, April 13, 2029. Apophis, the destroyer. How apt, and it's coming into us on Friday, the 13th. Now, we recently had an asteroid impact exercise. They take place every few years. Scientists, space agencies, astronomers, people that will be able to mitigate any type of hazardous near-Earth object that would have a probability of impacting Earth. Scientists say that if the Chelyabinsk meteor were to pass over a very heavily populated area, it would be just really a chaotic, destructive catastrophe. We've had many signs, geological signs here, for example, in Arizona, of impact craters. The Earth has been slammed everywhere. At least 50 big asteroid impacts in Australia alone. We have the huge impact crater that you can see in Quebec and Maticougan. You can see that from Google Earth from way up high. That's how big that was. And we also had the one that 66 million years ago hit the Yucatan Peninsula, and scientists believe that that was the one that caused the dinosaur extinction. Now, this past week, the NASA, ESA, the European Space Agency, FEMA, and various other international space agencies and officials took part in a simulated asteroid impact exercise drill. It was a tabletop drill. It was supposedly, the impact was supposedly to be taking place over New York City. The probabilities of impact started with a 1%, then it was increased to around 50%, then it was increased to 100%, and the conclusion was that everybody failed. They did not succeed in deflecting the asteroid or destroying the asteroid before it impacted Earth. So they have a long way to go, and they've alerted the international community that in the case of an impending close Earth flyby or Earth impact, they would not be able to protect the planet from such an event, which would be almost an Earth extinction event. So that's very, very important. Now here we have the Apophis asteroid pathway, and as you see, it will be coming in April 13th, 2019, as close as our satellites are to us. The purple line around close to the axis of the Earth is the International Space Station route. So you can see how close Apophis will be coming to us. In the recent Life Science article by Megan Bartels, she shows NASA's image, near-Earth asteroid Apophis, in yellow, passing Earth in 2019. The distance that some satellites show Earth orbit, the purple line representing the International Space Station. Now, the exercise that they had that finished on Friday was actually the parameter of the asteroid passing Earth in 2027. So you can see that it sort of parallels the size and timing of the Apophis asteroid. Now the solar system has a sense of humor, it seems. A decade from now, Friday the 13th. Wow, what a coincidence. This large asteroid, Apophis, will streak across our skies And scientists say that this asteroid called Apophis stretches about 1,100 feet across and will pass within 19,000 miles of Earth's surface, or 31,000 kilometers for those who are used to kilometers. That might sound scary, but scientists are sure that it will not hit Earth. Instead, it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance for scientists to understand near-Earth asteroids. The excitement is that an object this large comes this close about once every 1,000 years or so. What's the opportunity? Well, Richard Binzel, planetary scientist at MIT, said on April 30th during the International Academy of Aeronautics Planetary Defense Conference, which finished on Friday, the asteroid's proximity and size will also add to the encounter's brightness. So Apophis will be seen by about 2 billion people worldwide, and we'll be able to see it pass with our naked eyes, he said. Of course, scientists have a full 10 years to plan before the space rock makes its closest approach, which means that they have time to draw up a wish list of what they want to learn, out of which they can, how they can tackle from Earth and dream up scientific designs that could give them the front row seat to the flyby. Scientists are positive Apophis will not hit the Earth in 2029, but they can't yet rule out possibility collisions decades in the future, and there are plenty of other large celestial rocks orbiting the Sun in Earth's neighborhood, in our neighborhood. Experts in the planetary defense track these objects, preparing techniques that could divert any of those that could be a danger to Earth. Data gathered about Apophis could inform what scientists know about these other asteroids. Since this particular space rock seems superficially similar to about 80% of other potentially hazardous asteroids that are near us and have already been tracked and identified up to now. Of course, there are many that are not identified and not found yet. Asteroid scientists and planetary defense experts began that work with a series of presentations at the conference highlighting topics they'd like to consider between now and the first Apophis flyby in 2029. They propose investigations, bridging the two disciplines, asking questions applicable both to humanity's self-interest and to our understanding of our solar system. For example, the interior structure of Apophis. What is it made of? So that's vital information that the engineers have to have if they want to understand and try to break apart the space rock or even push its collision course away from Earth. But that information would also likely offer clues to how Apophis formed. Now, he says, you could argue, is this science or planetary defense? Binzel said, but there is no argument. It's all one and the same. Science and planetary defense. The topic of interest is the degree to which Earth's gravitational pull could attract Apophis during its 2029 approach to us. Some scientists feel that previous flybys would have stretched the space rock, changed its shape, that other asteroids could be similarly affected during their close approaches to Earth. And they have a question. The question that asteroid scientists have is also vital for our planetary Earth defense. Experts want to know to what extent the Sun plays a role in this, and that is the Sun's radiation, how it nudges Apophis's orbit. That phenomenon is called the Yarkovsky effect. It results from the temperature differential between day and night sides of the asteroid. The tweaks the Yarkovsky effects cause uncertainty about the Yarkovsky effect. So also, to flagging some key priorities for next decade, scientists discussed some top-level mission concepts that lay the groundwork for spacecraft to visit Apophis before, during, or after its approach to Earth, to us. Now, how can they do this all in 10 years? I mean, they've got such problems with spacecraft already. Pieces of all those missions showed up in the drill that they had last week. And they could set what they would send to Apophis. Speakers discussed possibilities offered by Cube satellite missions, including missions that paired twin spacecraft. Scientists also had the idea of putting a seismometer on the space rock. One design would impale Apophis like a harpoon to have the seismometer on there to pick up tiny vibrations through space rock that could help scientists understand the interior structure of Apophis, how it shapes, how it changes, how it's affected by Earth's gravity, things like that. Also, some ideas in this mission would create the artificial crater on Apophis, as the Hayabusa 2 just did at the asteroid Ryugu when it impounded it, in order to see below the weathered surface of the asteroid what is going on. Now, some of those ideas may be too risky, but since scientists would need to be positive, the manhandling would not risk meddling in Apophis' safe trajectory. Can you imagine if they did something that would cause it to, next time around, come closer to Earth? I mean, that would be going against the planetary defense. He says that they said we've got to be really careful because this specific object will have intense public and even political pressure to avoid doing anything to change its orbit. This is what James Bell, planetary scientist at Arizona State University, said. Some of those ideas may be too risky to be worthwhile, but since scientists would need to be positive, the manhandling would not risk meddling in Apophis' safe trajectory. He says we've got to be really careful. James Bell, planetary scientist at Arizona State University. He said it's an opportunity for NASA and other space agencies for it to be the PR event of the decade. And that's a careful balance that asteroid scientists and planetary defense experts will need to achieve over the next decade when Apophis comes at us, making the most scientific and outreach opportunities of Apophis' close flyby offers without causing panic, or even worse, accidentally creating a dangerous situation where there was not one before that. The world will be watching, Brinzel said, and it's up to us to get ready. And they did fail the drill. We know that there are various asteroid missions that have been are taking place. It seems that the phases of the tackling an asteroid impact have been cut into various projects, and countries are taking each phase of the project. As to what to do to mitigate an asteroid impact, and as we know that is very important. Perhaps they should somehow do intensive work on this, perhaps calling on defense mechanisms, taking away or allotting budgets from defense and putting it into planetary defense, because they need more people and more hardware to work on things like this. Now, one of the next 2 or 3 years, NASA wants to work on the asteroid, the DART mission of the double asteroid Didymus. They're going to be trying to crash a satellite into the smaller one in order to pound it and to deflect it from its course significantly, in order to move it away. And they'll be doing that as a type of a test, a real-time test situation as to how they can deflect an asteroid. So that's how serious they are, but I don't think they're doing things fast enough. That will be in 2 or 3 years. In the meantime, that will mean they only have 7 years or 6 years left before Apophis comes at us. So this is on Live Science, and the video was from NASA, and I'll leave links below for you for this. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.